Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing the 2001 film Monsters Ball, starring Halle Berry, Billy Bob Thornton, and Peter Doyle from Everybody Loves Raymond, is starring in this film. And believe me, after I tell you, you're not going to love Peter Doyle for Everybody Loves Raymond after I tell you what he does in this movie. Like I said, I'm reviewing Monsters Ball. Of course, this is the film that won Halle Berry her Oscar for Best Actress. And she became the first black actress to win the Lead Actress Award, Oscar Award. And the first black actress to win an Oscar, I think, since Hattie McDaniel won for Gone with the Wind. But over the years, there's been black actresses after that has won for either Best Actress or Best Supporting Actress. So you have more diversity, in the Oscars when they black actors win. But 2000, before I go into more of the movie, this was also the year where you had the two lead acting awards went to a black actor, because Denzel Washington won his second Oscar, his first lead acting role, for Training Day. So you had the Best Actor and the Best Actress awards went to a black actor. Well, now to the movie Monsters Ball. Like I said, this was Halle Berry and Billy Bob Thornton, and this movie ends up being a love story between the two characters. Even though you weren't too sure it was going to be a love story between these two actors, and I'll explain that in a minute. Well, the movie starts off with Billy Bob Thornton as a prison guard, where Halle Berry's husband was on death row, and Halle Berry's husband in the film was played by Sean Combs, or P. Diddy, and he was on death row, and P. Diddy was on death row, and Halle Berry played her husband, and she had a son who was fatter than I. If you think I'm fat, you're gonna see that Halle Berry's son. I mean, he was like fatter than a Goodyear blimp. This kid. Anyway, the kid was good in the role, but it was fatter than a Goodyear blimp. Okay. And anyway, also starring in this movie, I should mention, is Heath Ledger, who plays Billy Bob's son in this film, and he also works as a prison guard under his father, because his father had seniority, of course, and his son works under him or works on the same shift as he does in the prison. Well, as the story goes on, of course, you find out that when P. Diddy gets executed, you do see him getting executed in this film. Well, he should get executed anyway because he's a stupid rapper and he's a piece of garbage, but this is another matter. While they're walking him down to the cell, to the execution room, like in the other movie, Dead Man Walking, right? It's on his last ever walk, as alive before he gets executed. Heath Ledger, just before he's escorting P. Diddy into the execution room, he pukes his guts up because he knows what's going to happen. That it's going to be his last walk, his last mile walking, and Heath Ledger pukes his guts up. And because he did that, after P. Diddy finally gets executed, Billy Bob beats the shit out of him. Because he ended up puking his guts up. And because he's supposed to be a kid professional and trying to not have your emotions boil over. But Heath Ledger did. He let his feelings boil over and puked his guts up because he was very upset that it was going to be the first time that he was walking somebody's last walk in prison or death row. So his emotions got away with him and he puked his guts up. So Billy Bob said, "You should never let that happen ever again," and he beats the shit out of him. And this one guard, there was a black security guard, a black prison guard, trying to help break it up, and trying to be more sympathetic to the son than the father was. And Billy Bob calls his black security guard the N-word. Hey, I don't need to take orders from a. He says the N-word. Because he does come from a racist background, or Billy Bob does, because his father's was played by Peter Boyle from Everybody Loves Raymond, who's an out-and-out racist. And he makes all these really over-the-top racist stuff. He doesn't just say the N-word. I mean, that's bad enough. But he makes all this over-the-top N-word stereotypical stuff in the film. So when that's going on, is when they get home, Billy Bob and Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger says, "Do you hate?" Says to Billy, "Do you hate me?" He says, "Yes, I hate you. I've always hated you because you're always weak. You're a weak guy, and you're just like your mother. She was weak herself, and so are you. You're also weak." So Heath Ledger uses his gun, and first he threatens to shoot Billy Bob for hitting him and for treating him, for humiliating him like that in the prison and beating the shit out of him. So he pulls the gun out, they use it on the job, and threatens to shoot Billy Bob, which is a pretty strong, powerful, scene. And then after that, Heath Ledger just says, when he finds out that Billy Bob actually admits that he hates him, takes the gun and says, I loved you, I've always loved you. And then he says to Billy Bob that he always loved him. Despite of everything, he still loved him. And Heath Ledger shoots himself. Right there in the living room, he killed himself. In front of Billy Bob and his grandfather, and he said Peter Boyle. And I mean, the other problem, just like that, Booth, because he couldn't take it, and he killed himself. When that stuff was going on, then you have Halle Berry trying to bury her husband, and she couldn't afford the house, couldn't afford the funeral for her executed husband now. Well, that stuff is going on. She works as a waitress, and she sees Billy Bob coming once in a while to the diner she was working at. So she knows him as a regular customer, but she never met him at the prison, which is kind of funny. Because the reason is because Halle Berry's never hardly visited P. Diddy in the jail, in the prison, because she treated him lousy. He was always, he treated her lousy, I should say, and he's on death row. He's a piece of garbage. We should have visit him. True gave me a son. We're married, but still he was a terrible person because of what he ended up with death row for, which wasn't really properly explained why he was sitting on death row. Because naturally, obviously, he killed somebody. You have to kill somebody to be on death row, but it didn't really properly explain why he was on death row to begin with. But anyway, after the husband was executed in prison, the son, in trying to get along with the son, and Halle Berry at one point beats the crap out. It was just after when P. Diddy was executed in prison, and getting over that, and she beats the crap out of him because he keeps eating all the time. He never stops eating. That's why he was so fat, the kid. Because no matter what Halle Berry bought him, he sucks it up he's like a human vacuum cleaner in terms of food. So she beats him up because she finds out that he was hiding candy all over his bedroom. But not too long after that, her car breaks down on the way to work, and they're walking literally down this 2-lane highway, and you actually don't see it, but you saw the aftermath when the son gets run over by a car. He gets run over by a car, and that's when Billy Bob Thornton, after he ate in the diner, all he had was a bowl of ice cream and some coffee. That's how a combination. You drink hot coffee and drink a bowl of ice cream. Whatever. That's one nitpick over the film. And Billy Bob saw what was going on. First, he drove by them because naturally they were black, and he came up with being born. Well, not born racist, but being taught how to be a racist from his racist father. And stops, comes back, picks up the kid, Halle Berry's son, and Halle Berry's character, drove him to the closest hospital, And he says, and he talked to the cops and says this kid was run over, and unfortunately the son died, and that was pretty an emotional scene. I mean, Halle Berry gave a great performance. I mean, she didn't win the Oscar for this role, but I think the best. She had really three good scenes. The first one was when after the son dies, and you're in the hospital and find out that the son died, and she's wailing, and she's crying, and she's going, all despondent because the son had died. That was one good scene. And again, the other two, of course, the other two scenes I'm talking about is, I know I'm going to get ahead of myself here, but when she has sex with Billy Bob for the first time, he just goes screaming, and you see this clip on YouTube anyway, where she's so screaming, "Can you make me feel good? Can you make me feel good?" Because she's so upset, she's still upset and mourning over her son. And Billy Bob was mourning the loss of his son, or his son's suicide. And so he goes, "Can you make?" And Halle Berry is screaming, "Can you make me feel good?" And it's crazy voice. And they eventually have sex, and that's when you see all of you Halle Berry perverts out there. You see her completely, totally new. And you don't see her nether regions, but you see her naked butt and her boobs in this movie. I think this might have been the second time she flashed her boobs or showed her boobs. In the movie. And of course, we all know Halle Berry has a great body anyway. I think she's probably one of 3 or 4 black actresses that I want to see, that a lot of people want to see naked. Her, I think Robert Givens is another one, from Head of the Class. Debbie Allen from Fame, because she was also smoking hot back in the day. And of course, Lisa Bonet from The Cosby Show. Those are really the 4 real black actresses that you really want to see in the buff. And of course, Halle Berry is, of course, number 1 on that. She's pretty much tied with Robert Givens as the hottest black actresses ever. And you see her completely naked. So, goddamn, well, you know she has a hot body anyway. Because I saw her in that crappy Flintstones movie. And she showed off her body in that movie. But, so this is really like the third time where she really saw her hot body in this movie. And I think I read somewhere that they actually did do it. They're talking about Billy Bob and Halle Berry actually did have sex while filming that actual scene. Usually they don't. I mean, it's like they pretend to have sex, but they actually physically did do it in this movie. From what I heard. And when that was happening, and of course now Billy Bob has the feeling that actually have feelings for this girl because he felt sorry for her. He felt connected to her because she lost her son around the same time as Billy Bob lost his son, so they had that connection. And not only that, but her husband was in the prison that he worked at as a prisoner, so they have more of a connection that Halle Berry did not quite know yet. And the other scene that was very powerful was the scene where Halle Berry finds out that he was actually a prison guard at the prison where her husband was at. And there was also and she also completely loses it in that scene, and Halle Berry actually loses it in that scene as well. And because she found the drawings that her husband did of him, of Billy Bob, and Billy Bob's son, and Heath Ledger's character. And then he finds out, how do you get this? And then she figured out that he was the prison guard at the prison. So she loses it on that scene as well. So it was really, really pretty powerful stuff. And in between all that, after when she first has sex with Billy Bob, with Billy Bob's character, she buys him a big like a Stetson hat, cowboy hat, and she brings it over to his house. And Halle Berry meets Peter Boyle, Billy Bob's father, and he spews out all this racist crap towards Halle Berry. He said, the reason why, now he's a real mad because he has a black pussy. And excuse my language if kids are watching this, happen to be watching this video. He actually says that about her. And the only reason why he had sex with you is because he wanted to have some black sap. And also other disgusting things that he says about her. So she gets mad and initially wants to break up with her. And I was going to say Halle Berry broke off with Billy Bob because of what his father said about her, and the reason why he had sex with her and all that stuff. So, so when that happened, Billy Bob got so pissed off at his father that Billy Bob put him in a nursing home. For the rest of his life, he kicked him out of the house and put him into a nursing home because of that. And not only that, but because the father couldn't take care of himself anymore. Because he was on an oxygen tank, and he couldn't walk anymore. He had he couldn't really walk, but he had trouble walking. He fell a couple times in the house and stuff. So he says, just to get rid of the hassle, he put him in the nursing home. And especially, he was thinking of doing that before, but now he really did it because of what he said to Halle Berry, because he wants her around the house, and he can't have her around the house as long as his racist father was there. So that was also a powerful. That was a powerful moment as the rest of the scenes in the film that I just mentioned. But it was a pretty damn good subplot. And then Billy Bob tried to make stuff with us. Look, I got rid of my father. I kicked him out of the house. I put him in the home. That's because of what he said to you. Unfortunately, you can't apologize for him. Unfortunately, that's how he is. And he's been that way practically his whole life. And he's been a racist jerk, a racist a-hole, pretty much, most of his life. And unfortunately, he always treats people like that. And I'm sorry they talk to you that way. I said, unfortunately, if I knew you were coming, I would have you avoid each other because I know what he is. And Halle Berry says that she forgave him, and she actually moves in with him. And stayed in the son's room, and so I didn't know this was the son's room, or be in another room, and they don't want to be in your son's room. And Berry said, "Oh, okay, it's okay." And then later on, that's when she finds out, or Halle Berry finds out that Billy Bob was a prison guard. At the very end of the movie, and within, I think that's 5-10 minutes of the film, that's when she finds out. But what Billy Bob's relationship was to her husband. And Billy Bob says, I think now we're going to be okay. I think that both of us are going to be okay. And that was really like the last time. And they share like a container of chocolate ice cream because they both like chocolate ice cream. With plastic spoons. Right? But, the movie was definitely one of the better films and did not win the Oscar for Best Picture that year. I think it might have been Beautiful Mind. I think won that year for Best Picture. I think it might have been Beautiful Mind that won that year for Best Picture. But this was nominated. This was definitely not a bad movie to see, especially if you have a Halle Berry fan. I think this is one of the first. This movie was pretty early on. It was not early on in her career, but it's definitely the best performance. I think it's the best performance Halle Berry's ever given in a movie. Of course, the next movie she did was Die Another Day, which is the last James Bond film starring Pierce Brosnan, and that was such a terrible movie. I liked her in the film, but the movie itself was terrible. But that's getting off topic. But I think that Monsters Ball is definitely one of the better films. And the reason why he got the name Monsters Ball, and Billy Bob Thornton character explains it to his son, was played by Heath Ledger, early on in the film, what a Monsters Ball is. It's a term that they use in prisons for the last night of a condemned prisoner. I think the next day the prisoner is about to be executed on death row. They throw a big, huge party for him. Doesn't give one last night of, one last night of being human, I guess, or being alive, and they throw a big party for him, and they call that a monster's ball. Because usually people who are on death row are considered monsters. So that's how they got the term monster's ball from. So I feel before you close the video, I should explain what the title of the movie is. But the film itself is definitely one of the better films. I think Billy Bob was good in it. And of course, Halle Berry was very good in it because he won the Oscar. And this movie, and of course, anytime you see Halle Berry naked, it's always a good thing. So let me review the movie Monsters Ball. Please click on the video, please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video on your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews not only on my YouTube channel, but at rallyc.com, that's all WDY, and that's C.com. There's a homepage to Rally Reviewer Chris Lee Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.